Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Let's just jump right into it, because today we're looking at something truly fascinating. The actual psychology behind financial breathing room. We're going to explore the truth about why you absolutely do not need some massive, lottery-sized emergency fund to completely change your psychological relationship with money. By digging into the data and the psychological shifts from our source material, we're going to uncover a very specific turning point that, honestly, most people completely overlook. So I want you to think about a really specific feeling for a second. Have you ever looked at your bank balance, seen a number that, let's be real, isn't going to buy you a new car or fund some crazy luxury vacation, but you felt this subtle, distinct relaxation in the back of your mind anyway? It's a super unique feeling, right? You aren't suddenly wealthy, but a pressure valve just kind of releases. Well, as our source material reveals, there's actually an exact number where this psychological shift happens for most people, and it is significantly smaller than you might think.
Now, this highlights the great myth of modern personal finance. Most people operate under this assumption that absolutely nothing meaningful happens to their peace of mind until they hit that textbook emergency fund number. We're talking $20,000, $50,000, or having 6 full months of living expenses just sitting there. It feels like this massive, impossible mountain to climb. But waiting for that gigantic figure means you're totally ignoring the real transformation. The one that actually rewires how your brain operates on a daily basis happens way, way before you reach those heights.
And here it is, $5,000. Yep, it's not $50,000, it's not $20,000, it's exactly $5,000. Now look, let's be very clear about what this number is not, okay? It is not enough to quit your job. It won't cover a catastrophic medical emergency, and it definitely won't save you if you're out of work for half a year. But it is the exact, highly attainable tipping point where your brain fundamentally stops being purely reactive. It's the number where that low-grade everyday panic begins to fade and actual peace of mind kicks in.
Okay, Section 1, the real magic number, and living at zero.
To truly understand why $5,000 is basically magic, we have to think about the massive difference between having $200 in your account versus $5,000. I mean, we really have to look at the stark reality of living without it and the mental gymnastics required when you literally have zero financial cushion. With $200, every single unexpected cost that pops up is a 5-alarm fire. If it's a Tuesday and your car suddenly needs new brakes, you are instantly forced into this terrifying choice between fixing the car you need to get to work or paying your rent. And that is not an exaggeration. For a lot of people, that's just a standard Tuesday. But at $5,000, that exact same $600 repair bill is just annoying. You pay it, you move on, and you don't spend next week agonizing over it. The fires just go out.
Section 2, the cost of cognitive load.
So we need to introduce a really crucial psychological concept here, cognitive load. Psychology tells us that being broke isn't just mathematically difficult, it is scientifically and mentally exhausting. Every single financial decision you make when you're living on the edge pulls energy from the exact same limited mental battery. You're constantly filtering everyday life through this lens of fear, and it drains you in a very real, completely measurable way.
Just look at these micro decisions. Should I get gas now or pray I make it to payday? Can I afford to say yes to dinner with my friends tonight? What if my card gets declined at the grocery store? On their own, none of these are incredibly complicated questions, but answering dozens of them every single week, again, all filtered through fear, is just exhausting. The source material uses this perfect analogy. It's literally like trying to run a web browser with 40 tabs open. Everything gets slower, including your ability to think clearly about anything else. $5,000 doesn't close all the tabs, but it closes enough of them that you actually get your mental bandwidth back.
Moving on to Section 3. Emergencies become mild inconveniences.
Let's ground this psychology into some concrete, day-to-day scenarios so we can see how this shift actually plays out in real life. Let's jump back to that car repair scenario. If you're sitting at a zero bank balance, a broken car isn't a repair. It is a full-blown emergency. You are faced with these cascading, super expensive consequences. You're either slapping it on a credit card at 20-something% interest, awkwardly calling around to borrow money from friends, or you're just driving around with the check engine light flashing and hoping for the best. And honestly, all 3 of those options will end up costing you more in the long run. But look at the $5,000 column. With that cushion, it's just a simple one-step process. It's just a repair. You pay the bill, your rent money remains completely untouched. Your grocery budget is untouched. The crisis has literally been downgraded to a mild inconvenience.
And you know what? This cushion affects a completely different, much quieter area of your life too, your workplace behavior. When you have zero savings, you absolutely need every single paycheck to land exactly on time. Because of that, you become cautious in ways you might not even realize. You keep your head down, you don't push back on extra work, and you certainly don't bring up that raise you've deserved for 8 months because you just cannot afford any disruption. But with a $5,000 net, you buy yourself room to breathe. It stops you from avoiding those necessary conversations out of pure panic. You actually get to choose your timing.
Section 4. Your new financial identity.
Which brings us to a really pivotal realization. The most important part of this whole journey isn't actually the money itself. It's the person you become. If you started at zero, saving $5,000 is not a fluke. It doesn't just accidentally fall into your lap. Building this cushion requires weeks, maybe even months, of difficult, highly intentional choices. It means skipping things. It means getting comfortable saying no. It means actively noticing where your money is leaking out and doing the hard work of plugging those holes. All of these small decisions point in the same direction, and they build a brand new habit. And the ultimate payoff is this. By the time that $5,000 is actually sitting in your account, you have proven something to yourself that no personal finance book could ever teach you. You have shown that you can set a difficult target and hit it. You prove that you aren't just someone who wants to be good with money, you are someone who already is good with money. That identity shift, it matters way, way more than the number on your bank statement.
Section 5. The next 5,000.
Okay, so you've hit the goal, but now you face a massive trap. The source material offers this really vital warning. They treat $5,000 like a finish line instead of a foundation. The first real test of your new identity isn't saving the money. It's what you do the week after you hit the goal, because it is so incredibly common for people to see that number, feel this massive wave of relief, and immediately think they've earned a reward, a new phone, a weekend trip, an upgrade. And just like that, they blow the cushion, and that beautiful mental shift we just talked about is instantly erased.
So the crucial point here is to stack your success by following these specific steps. Step 1, leave that first $5,000 completely alone. Step 2, keep using that new savings muscle you just spent months building, because step 3 is the payoff. Stacking the next $5,000 is going to happen so much faster. Actually, you've already done the hardest part. You built the habit. Your brain now knows for sure that it is entirely possible.
Let's lock in the ultimate secret of this entire explainer. The goal is being the kind of person who has $5,000 and then keeps being that person for the $10,000 after it and the $20,000 after that. The number in the bank account keeps changing, sure, but the identity, the person who is in control, the person who doesn't panic, that is what sticks. That identity is your actual most valuable asset. The cash is just the tangible proof that your new identity exists.
Which leaves us with this final thought. If you're sitting there right now with a bank balance that doesn't exactly feel impressive, please stop waiting for some massive mythical number in the future to feel secure. The psychological shift doesn't magically happen at $50,000. It starts a lot sooner than you think. It starts at $5,000. So I gotta ask you, are you ready to stop waiting for a magic number, close out those exhausting mental browser tabs, and start building your $5,000 foundation today? Get there first, and I promise you, everything after that gets just a little bit easier. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.